Our interactions with other people, rather than with animals, take up a significant portion of our life. However, becoming knowledgeable about animals can assist individuals in better comprehending the other species that inhabit our planet with us. After comprehension comes respect, and after that comes sympathy for the suffering that a great number of animals confront in today's world. The more people know about animals, the more likely it is that their behavior will change, and they will take more steps to limit the amount of suffering they cause to animals. This will provide some incredible facts regarding animals, so watch till the end and subscribe us before starting. Number 10. Koalas can sleep for up to 22 hours a day on average. Because the eucalyptus tree is the principal source of food for koalas, and because the eucalyptus tree is toxic, their digestive systems have to put in extra energy to break down the poisons. They sleep for anywhere between 18 and 22 hours a day due to the energy-intensive nature of this procedure. It's possible that consuming poisonous food isn't the healthiest way to live a vibrant life, but if you ask me, a life spent sleeping doesn't sound like such a terrible alternative. Number 9. The only animals that are unable to jump are elephants. It is true that adult elephants do not have the ability to jump, yet they are by no means the only land animal that does not possess this skill. Even the hippopotamus, which spends most of its time submerged in water, is unable to jump. When you are large enough, the desire to run away becomes unneeded, and jumping is typically a mechanism that is used to avoid being eaten by a predator. It is important to remember that young elephants can jump, despite the fact that they are much more likely to be killed by predators than adult elephants. Number 8. Octopuses are capable of tasting with their arms. The suckers that line the undersides of an octopus's arms have more than one purpose besides just grabbing. These structures are comparable to the taste buds that are found on human tongues. However, in contrast to human taste buds, these structures enable one to smell as well as taste. Because each arm contains neurons, cephalopods can think with both their arms and their bodies at the same time. Number 7. One leaf may take a sloth as long as a whole month to be completely digested. Everything about sloths is slow, and that includes their digestive processes. Because a sloth's food consists primarily of poisonous leaves, which are difficult to digest, the process of digesting a single leaf can take up to 30 days. Sloths have very little energy left over for quick locomotion. Who needs it, though, when you've got a coat made of algae to hide you from potential enemies? Number 6. Squirrels will adopt orphans. A large number of the animal kingdom's other inhabitants, in addition to humans, are known to be foster parents to young members of their own kind and even those of unrelated species. Squirrels tend to be asocial, which means that they live in relative isolation from one another. This is in contrast to species that are social, such as lions or elk, who tend to dwell in groups or herds. Squirrels of this species have been seen to take responsibility for another animal's young, particularly if the two families were related. Number 5. Butterflies have taste buds in their feet. Imagine being able to have a taste of the ground below you. This is something that the vast majority of US would find to be unappetizing. Yet, if you spend entire days walking on scented flower petals, you could have a different perspective on this. You would be a butterfly in this scenario due to the fact that butterflies have taste receptors on their feet and legs that are quite similar to those found on humans. Number 4. Each and every year, squirrels are responsible for the planting of thousands of brand new trees. One research found that squirrels can lose as much as 74% of the acorns they stash up in their nests. One of the researchers notes that many of these are buried in the ground, which is practically planting baby trees. The question that these studies have not been able to answer so far is whether or if squirrels are purposefully growing trees, rather than simply forgetting where they stash their nuts. It's possible that the concept isn't as far-fetched as it seems, given that squirrels have a vested interest in the expansion of forest cover because it increases the amount of food and cover available to them. Number 3. Cows have best friends. An experiment was carried out in which cows who were acquainted with one another, also known as their best friend, were placed in the same pen with cows who were not acquainted with one another. The cows' heart rates dropped noticeably when they were grouped with their closest companions, and their cortisol levels dropped as well. Lower cortisol levels imply less stress. when cows were isolated from their herd mates. Each of these indicators showed an upward trend. Unfortunately, the purpose of this research was to find ways to increase the amount of milk produced by farmers. Stress levels in newborn calves that have been separated from their moms have not been measured. Number 2. It's possible for gorillas to catch human illnesses like colds and the flu. Humans and animals are frequently exposed to one another's infectious diseases. Zoonotic disease transmission takes place when a disease is passed from animals to humans, as was the case with the new coronavirus that was responsible for the pandemic that occurred in the year 2020. When diseases are transmitted from people to animals, this process is referred to as reverse zoonosis. Infectious diseases that are spread from humans to other animals, known as reverse zoonosis, can affect gorillas. The ecotourism sector in Africa exposes wild gorillas to these diseases, which poses a serious risk to populations that are already in grave danger. Number 1. Only the bat among mammals is capable of flight. In spite of the fact that birds and bats have a more comparable look and way of life, humans and bats have a lot in common with one another. Both of these kinds of animals are classified as mammals due to the fact that they have fur rather than feathers or scales, give birth to live young, and nurse their young. The capacity to fly using just their own strength is something that no other mammal on the planet is capable of doing, making bats unique among mammals. Here are a few more as a bonus for you. Pigeons are capable of mathematical reasoning. Many of us, including the author, are susceptible to feeling fear and anxiety when confronted with numerical issues. Nonetheless, several animals are rather adept at solving such problems. Pigeons are able to reason using abstract rules regarding mathematics, according to a study that was conducted in 2011. The pigeons' skill levels are comparable to those of monkeys. Giraffes are capable of humming, but only at night. For a long time, people thought giraffes didn't make any noise because no one had ever heard them utter any vocalizations, either in the wild or in captivity. This led to the assumption that giraffes lived in complete silence. Prior to this discovery, scientists believed that the characteristically long necks of these ruminants housed vocal cords that were virtually worthless, despite the fact that they were fully grown and appeared to operate normally. However, it was just recently found out that giraffes do create vocalizations. Specifically, they hum at night and only when alone. Take a listen here. The wild chimpanzees enjoy drinking water. It is quite acceptable to treat yourself to a fruity cocktail once in a while. Even chimpanzees partake in this activity. One troop of chimps seemed to favor the fermented sap of a palm tree, which they were seen soaking up with leaf sponges in order to obtain more of the naturally occurring beverage. In point of fact, kangaroos exhale gas. There was a time when people thought that kangaroos did not create methane, a greenhouse gas that is typically discovered in the flatulence of herbivores, and is a major contributor to climate change. This is how the urban legend that kangaroos can't fart spread throughout the world. In spite of this, it was discovered that they do, in fact, fart after placing a group of people in a room with no ventilation, giving them a range of foods, and analyzing the air quality that resulted from this. After the conclusion of the study, let's keep our fingers crossed that they were promptly discharged into the open. So which fact did you enjoy the most? Share this with your friends and subscribe to our channel for more amazing videos like this.